That's right. Go!
How much long do I go? Oh, it's done. Oh, okay. Most college students really enjoy taking some time to relax Friday night after a long, stressful week of homework, and so they just want to watch a movie. Once you get this movie and you're just ready to sit back and relax on the couch and enjoy a nice, peaceful film, you realize, well, you don't usually realize, but it's true that there's all sorts of cultural messages being flung at you, and that you have to process those messages, unless you just want to subconsciously believe everything that the media tells you to, which is not a wise idea. One such movie is Fast and Furious. It was released in 2001, June of 2001 to be exact, and it's about all these different characters that are, well, working against all sorts of assumptions from the culture. You have Brian. He's the main character, kind of. He's a detective, and he's working to find out who these different car thieves are that are like raiding semi trucks as they're driving. So it's pretty legit, fast paced. That's like the first scene of the movie. Spoiler: I spoiled the first scene. But the first scene is like all these like fast cars driving, and they rob a semi truck. Like pretty exciting action film. And so then this detective guy is like getting closer to the different characters, and finally he zeroes in on them. But then those characters that are actually like robbing these semi trucks and doing stuff. Okay, stop listening if you don't want spoilers, or go watch the movie and then listen to the rest of the speech. But essentially, those characters, there's one called Dom. He's this like badass guy who drives cars really fast. Letty is his girlfriend. She also drives cars really fast. And then Vince and a couple other guys. They all kind of work together to raid these semi trucks, and Brian's trying to get to know them so that he can steal information so that he can report them, and then they can have justice. But then he gets all tangled up, and there's all sorts of different drama and stuff that goes on. Basically, really brief summary: action-packed movie, fast cars driving really fast, detective dude, and oh yes, motorcyclists. All right, so you see this really fun action-packed movie, and you're just gonna sit on the couch and enjoy it. False. Fast and Furious is definitely not just a fun movie about fast cars, underhand money, and all this other exciting stuff. Rather, it's imbued with all kinds of subtle messages praising and critiquing modern American cultural tendencies.
For our first main point, we have that the Fast and Furious franchise praises American culture. And our first example of this would be loyalty. The Google definition of loyalty is a strong feeling of support or allegiance. Within the Fast and Furious franchise, all the main characters have a strong loyalty and bond with each other, and thus being loyal to each other. Our next example of this would be a redemption arc. Regardless of how bad somebody is, they can still be good. One example of this would be when Dom figured out that Brian was a cop and he wanted nothing to do with him, but they did end up becoming really good friends. And another example of this would be in the movie, Vince did not like Brian at all at the beginning of the movie and throughout most of it because Brian had a thing for Mia and Vince also liked Mia. But at the end, Brian did end up saving Vince.
I'm going to be talking about the concept of family in Fast and Furious and how here in America sometimes your family isn't actually your blood relatives but the friends you choose to make your family. The concept of family is really important throughout the entire Fast and Furious franchise, especially in the first movie, the one that we decided to focus a little bit more on. Whether it is the car racing community they are all a part of, or the high-stakes crime crowd that they kind of get stuck in, the characters in Fast and Furious create a little family of their own.
There's all kinds of family, Brian.
Disrespecting my whole family.
Now you bang your family with these drift nuts.
Sinhan was family.
I'm so sorry that you ripped my family apart.
Family?
Look at our family now.
I already lost my family once.
Family just got bigger. There's always room for family.
We're family.
I know you guys are a family, so I'm offering you a chance right now to make that family whole again.
You want to make this family whole again?
You don't think about coming down.
Your code is about family. That's the only way you're going to keep your family safe.
Brother never told you never threaten a man's family.
This is your family. This is my family.
Thank you for the little angel, newest addition to our family.
Almost killed my family.
Hosting his family in the Dominican Republic at his vacation.
You need to stop him before he does any more damage to our family.
Never should have messed with a man's family. More importantly, you and your family don't go to any more funerals.
Han was my family too.
But what's real is family. Your family. I don't have friends. I got family.
This crew is about family. We've only got one chance to make this family whole again.
You gonna turn your back on family?
As you can clearly see from the video we just played, family is really important to the Fast and Furious crew. The word family is said 33 times in the first couple movies alone, and compared to other cultures, America may not value actual blood family as much as other countries, but we put a special emphasis and value on friendship, and in my opinion are one of the only cultures where friends can become just important or more important than your actual blood relatives. This concept of friends becoming family is a common thread throughout all of the Fast and Furious movies. When any of the characters mention their family, they are almost always talking about their friends and not people they are actually related to by blood. Something I find very special about American culture is the importance we put on friends and building a community of people around you that you choose to be around. It really demonstrates the common saying, your friends are the family that you choose. By emphasizing the importance of friends, choosing them wisely, and doing whatever it takes to protect them, I think it shows that American culture really values loyalty, togetherness, and trust. And those three things are something that is very important throughout the Fast and Furious franchise.
Along with the loyalty, togetherness, and trust that the franchise represents, it also goes along with many action movies' portrayal of masculinity, or at least on the surface. From the poster, The Fast and the Furious, it is deemed that the movie is going to be about men driving fast cars with women by their side. And to a point, that's exactly what the movie is about. But later on, the audience gets glimpses of the softer side of each character. In spite of the opening heist scene's agreement with Hollywood's definition of masculinity, as the film proceeds, it shows a softer side to each character. And Zion Burnett, the third from Mel Magazine, says in his article about the franchise, each installment in the franchise is like a Russian nesting doll, slyly packed with male emotions, anxieties, and gender fantasies. If you look past the fact that they're unapologetic shrines to hyper-masculinity built to sell attitude and popcorn, you'll see that they offer up some of the most positive, heartfelt expressions of masculinity we've witnessed over the last 2 decades. The Fast and Furious franchise is trying to change the way society, especially men, view masculinity. And it seems to be working, especially in our generation. Burnett's 17-year-old nephew said, "Honestly, those films have taught me more about masculinity than anything else in society." Griffin, Burnett's nephew, also goes on by saying, like with Vin Diesel, he's this traditional idea of masculinity, says few words, shows strength, and mostly, though, doing badass stuff. But then he also shows how masculinity can be soft. Same with Michelle Rodriguez. She's considered this more masculine woman, like how she beats up people and opens beers and stuff like that. But she still has a soft side. You see it between her and Vin Diesel. And for both, their masculinity doesn't go away when they're soft. As seen with Griffin's experience, Fast and Furious still uses culture's view of masculinity for the box office, but they bring out a softer side that they feel needs to be accepted. Another aspect of American culture, especially Hollywood, that the film criticizes is the portrayal of villains. This is explained well in the chapter titled Prophet, Priest, or Demon in our Communicating for Life textbook. On page 129, the book states, "The popular arts in the United States have always demonized particular people. Circuses, vaudeville, film, radio, and TV portrayed immigrant groups and minority groups as evil people. Between 1835 and 1940, freak shows divided people into 2 groups, abnormal Westerners and normal Westerners. In so doing, they reflected on how dormant American culture determined who was a freak and who was a normal member of the tribe." Unlike the norm, this movie contains a vast majority of abnormal Westerners. And this was, and still is, a statement. And this statement is well received by those who have felt the same pressure by Hollywood. As Michael, one of Burnett's friends, states, I think the multiracial angle is really unique. Burnett also states his appreciation that he and Michael have for the franchise in the following quote. As black men in America, we both know how there's always going to be that one scene, or that one line. And you never get that in Fast and Furious, which is notable since American action movies are notorious worldwide for their casual miscue of black and brown bodies. After Hollywood decided that they weren't going to have skin color be the distinguishing factor between who you could tell was a villain or not, they transitioned to another group of people who could possibly have an even smaller ability to speak up. If we continue with our Communicating for Life textbook, it says, television and film later portrayed people with disabilities as villains. Evil characters had limps, eye patches, or ugly facial features. To this day, television's criminals are frequently unattractive or disfigured so we can easily identify their evil features.
Tell me what you think about this. County adjustables. They're going to save us about 2 pounds, and they're going to give us better traction for the whole shot. All right? This is your basic layout of the car, and that's pretty much what it could look like when it's finished. Red, green.
Man, you should be going to MIT or something.
Yeah, right. No, I got that. Oh, what's it called? That attention disorder.
Or ADD.
Yes, that shit. Yeah. You know, I was good in algebra and like math and shit. Everything else, I failed. Dropped out of school. I don't know, it's something about engines that calms me down. You know?
As seen in this clip, the movie allows the audience to feel bad for Jesse, especially with the acknowledgement of his expertise in cars. But we can see that he has a limitation and he wouldn't be able to go to someplace like MIT. So you tend to side with him, and despite the fact that you know that the group are villains, you still want him to succeed. Not only is Fast and Furious breaking down the norm of what external characteristics villains are supposed to have, but reminds us that everyone is a human being, and we all deserve a chance.
Another way that Fast and Furious critiques a common cultural practice is revolving around the rights of women. Now, the important qualifier here is that, as is the case with many modern American movies, there's a lot of objectifying of women that happens in Fast and Furious, especially around some of the car races. But besides that, they do have a specific scene that does a really good job of critiquing the domestic assumption that women should do all the domestic work in a household. And that's revolving around Miu washing the dishes after cooking. And Brian comes in and he's like, hey, don't have to do that. I don't think that's the way it should be. I like you a lot. Yeah, you'll see the clip.
You need a hand with anything else?
No, I'm good. You can go join the boys watching the movie.
I see the cook doesn't clean where I come from.
Yeah, I'd like to go there.
Essentially, what this is critiquing is that, especially in World War II, that's kind of when things started turning around in the women's rights field, according to the World War II Museum, where women were able to kind of get into the working world a lot more and start doing like a man's work, so to speak, to increase wartime production. And that definitely reverted back after World War II. But that's when people really started fighting for it, and it got a much more broader movement of feminism, sort of, if you want to call it that. And so, yeah, and right around 2001 is when this movie came out, which was about 50 or so years after World War II had ended. And so you have this movement continually progressing. And at the time, according to a talk that was going on in the United Nations and some other newspaper articles that I was able to find from that time frame, women's rights came about a lot in like the sexuality and just like a lot of the stuff that's still going on today with like rape and all that stuff that's going on was like, that's not okay, we need to protect women's rights. But then there's also like the part of it with like in a domestic household, and that's what Fast and Furious is speaking to here, with Mia being in that position of having to do work in the household, and then Brian coming in and saying something about that, even though he liked her and that's why he was doing it. It still communicates that to the viewer.
The Guardian, a New York newspaper, brings us to light with the following quote: "Working hard to ensure the male gaze is central to blockbuster filmmaking. The only thing the film fetishizes more than cars is women. They're shot with the exact same leery lens, with close-up lingering over bodyworks as male characters lick their lips. Fast cars or fast women, it's all the same to them. Every film ends with a near-identical montage of women in bikinis displayed alongside our heroes' beloved cars. At the end of the day, they're both just trophies." Everyone sins, and these scenes are no exception. Many times, Christians simply become seduced by today's culture. We forget that we are supposed to live in a culture, but know that we are from a different place. As the one scene where Dom says hi to some girls, and Letty is right there to call him out on it. This is where we can get a big takeaway from the family aspect. We should not feel bad for calling somebody out. As Christians, we should hold ourselves to a higher standard. Most of the time, our friends just need a simple nudge to get them to reevaluate what they are doing. And this is not from the first movie, but it brought up a good point. As stated by the Guardians, cars are so fundamental to the way this universe functions that in the end, being inside one is almost like being in a church. They offer salvation, protection, and no shortage of idols to worship. Cars don't just help the team chase the American dream and better themselves, they're there to catch the characters when they fall short. And our American dream is obsessed with materialistic things, and the film presents an idea that the more you own, the safer you are. It's basically, I need to show off my wealth, and I only mean something because of what items people see that I have. And our final discernment of American culture becomes very applicable to us as Christians. Many times we get caught up in what the world sees as valuable. We get stuck in the power struggle and feel the only way we can be seen as if we climb the corporate ladder faster than everybody else. We forget that we are servants of Christ. We are only here temporarily, and our worth does not belong here. A similar decision must be made by Brian at the end of the first movie. He must decide between success and loyalty. He can either put Dom in cuffs or let him drive off. He knows he will either lose his up-and-coming career or the group of people who have recently become his family.
Basically, anyone who spent time in America during the 2000s has seen or at least heard of the Fast and Furious movie franchise. Whether it was the fast cars, the attractive cast, the high-speed heists, or the death-defying stunts that caught your eye, there is a lot more to Fast and Furious than what meets the eye. Fast and Furious is a complex franchise that both praises and critiques substantial parts of American culture. The movie deals with complex issues such as loyalty, respect, the importance of choosing your family, masculinity, racism, and a woman's role in society. All prevalent issues today we could all stand to learn a little bit more about. Us as a group prompt you to re-examine some of your favorite films for underlying themes you may have missed. It is easy to judge a book by its cover, causing you to miss out on a great opportunity to learn more about your culture and the world around you. Thanks for listening today.
I'm gonna go for a drive.
No matter where you are, whether it's a quarter mile away or halfway across the world.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong. And what's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond. And that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn. And that line is what we reach, so remember me when I'm gone.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be there for the last ride. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride. And now you gon' be there for the last ride. Tell you, yeah, we came a long way. Started out small to a real bond, cause we're brothers first. Cause we're moving through a life and it ain't over, we gon' keep it.
You'll always be with me.
Change the game without even knowing.
And you'll always be my brother.
How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be there for the last ride.
Tell you, yeah, we came a long way. I'll see you again.